Welcome back, friend! And we are diving into episode 2 of Frieren today. It opens up where Frieren is deciphering grimoires like it is her job, while Fern is fishing. And right away we are hit with a gorgeous musical montage of how Fern spent her summer vacay. Things are so gorgeous. This one is full of folksy, orchestral goodness and early aughts T-Swift vibes. You wonder, why is Frieren teaching Fern magic again? Oh, right, because she showed up wanting to learn more about humans, and then Heiter put her to work deciphering an ancient grimoire. No wonder she's so surly. Speaking of her surliness, I did find it funnier than I probably should have when Fern is visiting Heiter in the hospital after he collapses and tells her to wipe that look of pity off her face. But she only got one look, and it is a permanent judgment. It don't change. Okay, so here's something I'm learning about anime, or maybe it's just this show. Character choices don't have to make sense to us. If it feels right to the creator or it helps define a plot, we just kind of go with it. So Heiter is kind of like a new father figure for Fern, right? And he is just knocking on death's door. But does Fern go see him? Nope. Instead, she's determined to make her magic beam hit the boulder on the other side of the canyon. Priorities, people. I mean, she said she wants him to be proud of her. Obviously, I'm judging her for this. But then we cut back to Heiter and Frieren, where he is, in fact, happy to hear that Fern could be considered a proper mage and isn't hurt at all that she's not coming to see him before he dies. In fact, he asks Frieren to leave so that he can die in private. At least he's polite and going down with a smile. Okay, Frieren's having memories of Heiter's story of how Fern came into his life, and then she asks very seriously, why did you save Fern? Maybe because she was literally about to jump off a cliff and I'm not an animal? I don't know, Frieren, what do you think you should have done? Okay, at least Fern is paying her respects at the gravesite, while Frieren is literally pouring one out for the homies. I am living for this moment. Can we talk about how Fern is serving so much Blair from Soul Eater right now with the purple hair and all the floating pumpkins? It's a perfect fit for telling your mentor that your magely needs aren't being met. Fern is just over the insignificant starter spells that Frieren is teaching her. And it's getting a little uncomfortable and ends with Frieren telling Fern that they are the same. And she delivers it in a way that you know she meant it as an insult. I thought that was kind of a baller move. Like, if someone's insulting you, find some way to tell them they're just like you. No idea how I would make that work for me, but in anime land, it's epic. I'm sorry. I am 12 years old. Okay, so they just ran into this old lady who asks them to help clean the statue of Himmel. But she says, will you help me clean him up? It's too much for one old lady. Apparently, Himmel saved a village from being attacked by a demon, and they built him a statue as a little thank you gift. And Frieren is judgy as hell of Himmel and says that he should have declined the offer to build him a statue. But then the old lady mentions that there was an elven mage on the team too. And suddenly, not only will Frieren help clean the statue, she'll even conjure up flowers from his childhood to plant around it. And this is like the worst news in the world for poor Fern, because these flowers don't even grow here. Frieren doesn't even know what they look like. So how is she supposed to conjure them? I think that's a really good point. Makes sense to me. But this is when we find out that Frieren suffers from elf PDA, because she may have been about to give up the whole flower thing. But because Fern mentioned it, now for the next 6 months, instead of saving villages or teaching Fern some life-changing spells, Frieren is on a personal vendetta about flowers with Fern, eye-rolling by her side. So the old lady tries to do Fern a solid by telling her to share her thoughts with Frieren and gives her a little bag of knockoff seeds. And surely she'll understand and just move on. One musical montage later, we see that this was horrible advice. Frieren wants to conjure the exact flowers. And she's like, it'll only take me a couple more years to do it. But just when it starts to feel like we're all being punished by this endless flower quest, a squirrel shows up and leads them to a nearby castle well-ish thing, and bam! The squirrels were hoarding the blue moon weed flowers in the well. Cue orchestra! Light beams, flower petals flying everywhere, and it's a total anime moment. And it's beautiful. Squirrels to the rescue. They're calling them seed rats, but come on. Those squirrels. All right, that's it. Episode 2. Drop your comments and stuff in the bottom, and let's keep this Frieren journey going.